Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to MSNBC, my snarky news broadcasting channel. All of the news, none of the pants, and I can guarantee at least one of my co-hosts is not wearing pants. I'll let you figure out which one. And speaking of my gorgeous co-hosts, I am joined by Wren from Wren Relations and Shitlords Anonymous.
Hey guys.
As well as Ishtar from her own Twitch streams, and where she helps with voices on Cyber Demon Gaming.
Hi, everybody. Wren, darling, we have confirmed which of us is not wearing pants.
Yes, we have.
Because, well, this is Wren's new camera. This is called the Money Camera. This is for everyone who's coming to see not Wren herself, but everything else that is part of her. So, mine...
It's not a bad view. And honestly, she's probably going to get way more views than we will.
Or
and
just ask me to talk more.
And my name, of course, is Antoine the Great. And, well, yeah, I have been joined by Red's cleavage and her legs, as well as Ishtar. This is going to be an interesting stream.
Very.
So, Wren, I know I tied you up a couple of weeks ago. I didn't know it was going to take you 2 weeks to get out of it.
Hey, it took a while. It's not my fault.
Are you hiding the bite marks? Is that why you're not in camera?
Maybe.
Sarah gonna be pissed.
Anyway, I did not mean to make you miss last week's show, so I am sorry. I didn't know that those handcuffs were that hard to pick.
Well, it didn't help Sarah hid the key.
She did what? When did Sarah start playing these games? Or was she hoping you would starve to death? Because I could believe the starving to death part.
You pick her motivation on that one.
I'm just going to say yes to both. I don't know.
Okay.
But we are here. I don't know if you have been watching or if you had a chance to listen last week while you were tied up. We ended up doing some cringe book club. Thankfully, we don't have to do that today because I did not like that Matt came in and took over my show.
Oh,
he was so mad.
Oh, were you mad?
So mad.
Even worse is he's making me do voices for the damn thing. Anyway, before we get too far in, should we say hello to the lovely people that are here to see us?
Probably.
Well, we have to give her credit. Mitzi was actually first for once.
Hi, Mitzi.
Followed up by Cinder Shadow. How's it going, both of you? Ray was 3.14159. I think that's pi. And then Ishtar decided to step into chat and rob 4th place from Zar.
I'm sorry.
Ghost Dog is here. How's it going, Ghost Dog? Steve, how's it going, buddy? Rakist is here trying to butter up Wren for some reason. And I had nothing to do with your channel. You can't prove a damn thing.
You should say thank you.
For what? I didn't do anything.
Not you.
Oh, he should be thanking me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with that. And then we have Red Feather. How's it going? Clever Mick generic name. Has this intro always been there? It's been there for
a
couple months, yeah?
Yeah.
It was given to us by Big Red Wolf in the Discord.
Who is very talented. And
Very
if you guys
talented.
are not following his work when he posts it, you should be.
And we also have Ali here, who says she knows where she wants to bury her face. I'm assuming she's talking about Wren's thighs. It wouldn't be the first person.
Nope.
And Nightbot is doing his jobs. That's good. And Michael Hatfield is here. Hello, Michael. So I think that's everybody.
Yep.
Pretty sure.
And no, Steve, we will not be reading books tonight.
No books.
And Zar is playing Doom Eternal, since obviously he cannot play Final Fantasy VII Remake tonight, which is an interesting story. I was perusing the Discord earlier today, and Zar had his package delivered empty. His package that was carrying Final Fantasy VII Remake was empty. So he has complained. Apparently it was, according to Amazon, it's in transit. According to the seller, it's been delivered. And according to him, the package wasn't sealed properly. So someone got a free copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake. And when I say someone, I mean the delivery driver. How's it going, Zeo Gold?
That does suck.
Yes, so he is destroying the demons in Doom Eternal.
Well, it's a productive use of his anger.
Yeah.
Latent rage.
Yeah.
And hey, Amazon has good customer service. They'll deal with it.
The problem is that the seller is going to mark it as having arrived, which means they're not going to take his word for it.
Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Unless he took pictures and showed that, hey, something ain't right.
Well, you don't even necessarily need pictures. I had a package once for my son that we got him one of those collectible tins with Pokemon cards.
Mm-hmm.
And from the seller, we only got the tin. No Pokemon cards in it.
Okay.
And Amazon, without pictures, took our word for it, listened to us, and went, look, we'll just send you a whole nother one, and told the seller they had to send us one with Pokemon cards involved in the tin, unopened. And Amazon basically forced the seller to do that. So they're more likely to believe you over that. And Za just said he bought directly from Amazon, so they're even more likely.
Yeah, Amazon's just going to replace it.
I don't know. I've had to make that, hey, the package arrived, but there was nothing in it, and they were basically like, sorry, look.
How's it going, Tom? Tom says, okay, I'm here. How can I shill you this evening? Well, if you are watching the ticker of donators on the screen, there is a donation from Ben C that comes up that's $150. If someone matches that, there is a book that Ben wishes me to read. It is a book that was covered on the last Vox. Matt was talking about... It's from a psychologist that is polyamorous positive. So
yeah, I have no idea who that is.
And then Damn Alien is here as well. So we have a full house. So let's get this going. They're here to look at you two beautiful women and not listen to me ramble. So should we start? Since we are dealing with just Wren's cleavage and her thighs, should we have Wren start?
Yeah, by all means, let's keep the eye candy on screen.
All right. Well, I'll go with two short ones because I'm trying to get away from a certain virus that's going around. But there's two short ones of grannies who have decided to use this time, wisely to get really #priorities.
Tom also says, Super Siri says hi. Hello,
Hi,
Siri. And Remy, how's it going? All right, do you want the 82-year-old or the 93-year-old?
We'll start with the 82-year-old and go age up.
So beauty before age.
Yes.
All right.
We have Grandma 82 makes a huge sign asking for more wine after drinking it all during lockdown.
Because priorities.
And she definitely looks like she had just finished it.
I finished the bottle. I need more. During the coronavirus lockdown, some people will be going shopping for their vulnerable family members, and friends, and neighbors. When doing this, it's important to make sure they're stocked up on the essentials. But for one woman, her most essential item came as a big surprise to her daughter. Kelly Muller dropped by her 82-year-old mom's house to see if she needed anything to get her through self-isolation. The pair were talking through the window when her mother, Annette, produced a huge handmade sign with an important message for Kelly. In bold black letters, the sign proclaimed the older woman needed more wine.
As Ali put it in chat, grandma goals.
Yeah.
Hashtag grandma goals.
Grandma
Grandma
goals.
And to hammer her point home, she also waved her empty bottle of wine around to her daughter as well.
See, this is what I need. I'm out. I'll turn it upside down to show you that I'm out of it.
I am out.
I don't
Give
want
me-
to be out, child that I have created.
Give me one. She did later post that she indeed got a second bottle of wine.
Good.
Well, that's good.
On to 93-year-old woman who made a Facebook appeal for more Coors Light.
Why Coors Light, of all things?
Because it's the proper light beer when you're stuck at home.
Because she's 93, and so if she wants to like Coors Light,
She doesn't need much to get her hammers.
no.
That's true.
She's 93. She doesn't need hard liquor. She just needs Coors Light. And this was Olive Verasani that decided the best way to keep her supplies up during the lockdown was to basically post a picture on Facebook of her holding up a whiteboard saying, I need more beer.
Grandma goals.
Yes. Since then, this photo has been seen by more than 1 million people. I wouldn't be shocked if Coors Light gives her a lifetime supply. And several people have offered to get her beer in her area. And I believe it does not say, but according to some other articles, which I couldn't dig up or find links to, she has indeed gotten more Coors Light.
Well, that's good to know.
That is reassuring.
See, these are elderly women that know how to use the internet.
Yes. And
That's-
apparently Allie wants to adopt them as her new grandmothers.
Yes, I saw that. This is refreshing. This is happy cringe, I guess you'd say. The cringe is because of the beer and the wine, but other than that, it's kind of more heartwarming.
It's heartwarming.
Happiness.
Grandmas clearly have the right priorities. They're stuck in the house by themselves.
And Allie wants a lush for grandma. You know, it works out,
They might have a new granddaughter who brings them wine and Coors Light.
right?
Clever says, oh look, Google's given you a lovely link to the Wu Flu wiki article. So lovely they do that on live streams now. Yes, since now YouTube is allowing everyone to talk about coronavirus, anytime it's mentioned in the title, or even if it's afterwards, like it's not in the title, but it's somewhere in the description, that will automatically show up, or after this is processed and everything and loaded up for rewatching, and it is heard throughout the algorithm, they will put that article there as well. It doesn't
That
do
way
much.
You can make sure that you have all the up-to-date information.
Yes.
Because that's just what you want.
So, we have an option between science and flawed man.
Science!
I was going to leave it up to the chat.
Nope. I'm doing
It
it.
is decided.
Alright.
In honor of this past Easter. Image of Jesus.
no.
Here. What?
I don't think you could do that one.
Oh, crap. Yeah,
After
no.
the break.
There we go. Aleister Crowley's house, Discovery Teas. I saw tea tree, and I thought about the
That's not a very good segue. Speaking of Easter, Aleister Crowley's house. He was only one of the biggest, Satanist priests out there. Sure, it has to do with
Seems
Easter.
appropriate.
Seems appropriate.
How's it going, Val?
Restoration works at the fire-ravaged Loch Ness home of the infamous occultist have recently begun in earnest. Because why would anyone want to do anything with this house other than burn it down? Situated near Foyers at the southeast side of Loch Ness, Scotland, Boleskine House was built in the 18th century in an area with a long history of peculiar happenings. Aleister Crowley, a man who was once regarded as the wickedest man in the world, lived at the house between 1899 and 1933 and was said to have used it to conduct black magic rituals.
He was so wicked that the Prince of fucking Darkness wrote a song about him.
Yep. It was a great song.
It actually was. Ozzy Osbourne's Mr. Crowley was a great song.
One of my favorites. Now, according to a recent update on the group's Facebook page, restoration efforts are now well underway with at least one of the building's rooms cleared of debris. The building, which was badly damaged by 2 fires, was purchased by a group of investors who set up the Bolskern House Foundation in hope of restoring it to its former glory. Images posted up show the famous oratory room, which was cleared of some 16 tons of rubble. Perhaps most interesting, however, was what the group found there during cleanup. Keep watching our social media platforms this week as we announce some of the discoveries found in the rubble, the group wrote on Facebook.
Do not advertise for other people on this show. You've done it before. You've done it before with A&E and The Walking Dead. Are you getting paid by these people?
Do you
She's
really
not gonna
think
answer
I
that.
would be this stressed out about money if I was getting paid for this? I'm reading the articles. The advertisement's in the article. Could artifacts from Crowley's activities at the house have survived the blaze? Only time will tell what secrets may lie within. There you go.
Alright, so we got $5 from Ghost Dog. Per for the ladies, Antoine. Everybody remember to wash your hands and ass, and don't be a dick.
Thank you, Ghost Dog. You're a sweetie pie.
And we also have to say hello to Wolvania. It's nice seeing you
Wolvania.
again.
I legit get shivers when you do that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ghost Dog.
Alright. So, a lot of people wanted Florida Science Man. I don't know if that's a thing. Clever says, look out, Antoine, she's feeling bossy.
I just wanted to go next.
You just wanted to celebrate Easter. I understand. It's fine.
I did.
You celebrated Easter by talking about an evil
One of the
evil
most
man.
Evil men in the world, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey.
Well, speaking of Easter,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about Florida Man and what he did at a McDonald's to get himself arrested.
I imagine it was meth-related and or perverse.
Well, what do you think?
I'm leaning towards meth.
Leaning towards meth. Wren?
Probably meth.
Probably meth.
We're betting on meth.
Betting on meth. Alright, well, meth may have been involved, but I don't know if he wasn't arrested. I didn't read all of it, so... Florida man arrested after exposing himself in a McDonald's drive-thru.
Still could be meth related.
And there was nudity involved.
Man committed at least 3 other lewd acts since June 2019, police say.
Only 3.
Only 3. Now, to be fair, he's not a bad-looking chap, but I don't know if unsolicited, not even unsolicited dick pics, this was unsolicited dick on the table.
Oh, he just whipped it out and flopped it down like he had something to prove?
A man was arrested after he exposed himself to an employee while going through a fast food chain's drive-thru Friday, according to the Orlando Police Department. Officers received a complaint on April 3rd regarding a man who went through the McDonald's drive-thru on South Sonoran Boulevard and exposed himself to the attendant, according to a news release. Detectives were able to determine that 24-year-old Luis Martinez had not only committed the offense in April, but also committed similar offenses at the same McDonald's a month prior.
And
Lewis,
nobody has blocked this motherfucker.
I don't know how you can block him from going through the drive-thru.
You ban him from the premises.
It's not going to stop him from going through the drive-thru.
Because, yes, it will, because he's not allowed on the property.
Yes, because criminals like this listen to the laws.
You know what you should listen to? The fact that Mitzi has donated more money because it's Easter.
I was going to get to that after the article.
Fine.
Luis was arrested Wednesday on a warrant for 2 counts of the exposure of sexual organs and was transported to the Orange County Jail. According to the investigators, Martinez has been linked to at least 3 separate incidents, indecent exposure incidents since June of 2019. Martinez has since bonded out of jail, and I'm assuming it's going to go right back to that McDonald's so he can expose himself to the drive-through cashier, because apparently that's how he professes his love for women.
Poor drive-through cashier.
And yes,
He has all of my sympathy. Because you know he does not have an attractive one. You know he's got a little wrinkly, dinkly, ill situation.
To be fair, Ishii, it's kind of hard for a lot of guys to have attractive members. It's the very few that do.
Zol wants to know, so is that how he gets a girlfriend? Just whip it out? Well, if it's the size of a baby's arm holding an apple, yes. So, $13.99, basically 14 loonies from our resident Canadian dinosaur. We need another purr because it was Easter. And yes, their money is called loonies. Because they're crazy, because it's a fake country.
What is it even worth anyway?
Well, since it's yellow, it's about $10, I think she said.
Ah.
Hold on. I can find out.
Do you want the purr or not, woman?
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, the purr first.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Nick says in Florida you can sometimes get a discount using that method.
Again, Nick, it depends on how big it is. There are some female cashiers, I'm sure that if it's big enough, they might go,
The food is yours.
the food is yours.
Alright, while she's looking up how much $13.99 is, let's go with some cringe.
All right. Let's go with it. That's after the thing. You know what? We'll go with the woman who's dating a chandelier.
$10 and
I-
6 cents.
I told you, it's because it's yellow, it's $10.
And 6 cents.
It's okay, and 6 cents.
Can't forget the 6 cents. Don't cheat Mitzi of her 6 cents.
Yeah.
Did you not just hear what the woman is dating?
No.
A chandelier.
Oh yeah, I've heard of people doing this before.
There was a post on Twitter today about a woman marrying a rug.
Yep.
Trust me, there were a ton of lesbian jokes.
Yeah. A woman who claims to be in a relationship with a 92-year-old chandelier has lost a discrimination case against the son.
I'm sorry, what? Wait. Oh, against the sun. Not the sun as in her son, because that would be a really weird hybrid.
The son as in the British newspaper.
Okay, I was going to say, because if she had a son with the chandelier, he is definitely the brightest one in that room.
Amanda Liberty says her sexual orientation is an attraction to inanimate objects, which has been described in one academic paper as objectum sexual. She has spoken out about her unusual love story in the media, previously saying she planned to have a commitment ceremony to Lumiere to show that my love is going to last.
No, this is ridiculous. I mean, come on, it's a chandelier.
Yeah. Miss Liberty from Leeds was featured in the Sun when the columnist James Moore wrote an annual rewards column for 2019. She awarded her the
Dagenham
Award, 2 stops past barking. She says she had married a chandelier-style light fitting and asked whether she was dim or dimmer. Dim and dimmer.
Uh, go back and reread the sentence prior to the dim and dimmer portion because I could have sworn you said 2 stops past barking, and I'm trying to figure out what that means.
Mad.
Barking mad.
Ah, okay.
2 stops. 2 stops
Yeah,
past
now I'm with
barking.
you. I normally
Barking
don't.
mad.
I don't normally associate it as barking mad.
Zeo Gold, I should not be smacked for that joke. It was a good one.
It was an excellent joke.
It just didn't catch. It just didn't catch Ishtar's, fancy. Usually, she laughs at wordplay.
Usually.
Usually.
She complained to the Independent Press Standards Organization, IPSO, that the Sun had breached Clause 12 of its editor's code of practice relating to discrimination in the article published in December.
You weren't. I'm sorry, woman. Liberty, whatever your name is. You were not discriminated against. You were kink shamed. We understand you like to polish your chandelier the hard way, but at least you have fun doing it.
Sorry.
She said that by awarding her the Dagum Award and asking whether she was dim and dimmer, the article was pejorative to her sexual orientation.
It's not
As
an
well-
orientation, it's a kink.
As well, she said, she was not married to the chandelier, but merely in a relationship with it.
Oh, dearie me, forgive my... Oh, my stars and garters. Miss Liberty is upset that they not only they kink-shamed her, they used her sexual orientation as a pejorative, but then they got the status of her relationship wrong with the inanimate object.
Correct. The Sun opposed Miss Liberty's complaint, arguing that the sexual orientation in context of Clause 12 covered people who were attracted to people of the same sex, opposite sex, or both, not people who were attracted to objects.
Because that would just be weird.
The newspaper also said it was not aware of any reputable definition of sexual orientation which included objectum sexual. Dismissing Miss Liberty's complaint, IPSO ruled Clause 12 provides protection to individuals in relation to their sexual orientation towards other persons, not to objects. As such, the complaint's attraction to an object did not fall within the definition of sexual orientation as provided by Clause 12, and the terms of Clause 12 were not engaged.
Oh my god.
Uh,
Every time I hear about this, it makes me shake my head because you've got people who are married to the Eiffel Tower, to a roller coaster, to banisters, to lamps, and they actually get sexually aroused and have sex with them just like you would with your spouse.
Clever and Zeogold both have the same question. Clever says, I spaced out. Have we wondered how she's shagging that thing yet? No, I know how she's shagging it. She puts her legs up on the chandelier, rubs it around, and hopes it stays afloat.
Oh,
It gives a whole new meaning to the term sex swing.
yes, it does.
And if she breaks a light bulb, it's definitely a smoking bush.
Ugh.
The regulators said it recognized that the complainants found the article to be offensive and upsetting, but added that the IPSO code does not cover issues of taste or offense. Newspapers are free to publish information as they see fit, as long as the editor's code is not otherwise breached.
Infallible Fowl says, you're just being lampophobic. And Red Feather is asking about lamp oil. Oh, I'm sure she provides her own.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, probably. Ew. Why did you do this to us, Wren?
It's cringe, and it's cringe that doesn't involve Corona. You're welcome.
Okay, yeah.
She has a point.
It is kind of hard to avoid Corona stuff right now.
I know for a fact because almost every single Florida Man article had to do with coronavirus this and coronavirus that.
Yeah,
But
So over that.
I think we all are. So I did find penguins for later.
and Optimus Prime is not here.
Oh no! Somebody better tag Optimus. He
Yes.
doesn't want to miss this.
Nick's radio says once a year that chandelier becomes very jealous of the Christmas lights.
Oh.
So I know that my article for after the break does have to do with the coronavirus cover-up, but it's a good one. So that's the only reason I chose it.
Uh-huh. Are you sure that's the only reason?
Yes.
Okay.
No, there's not a person that has sex with the Eiffel Tower. There's a person that has sex with a miniature of the Eiffel Tower and has been married to the Eiffel Tower. I believe we covered them on this show.
Yes. And
Yeah.
there's an entire documentary about people who have this. It is a mental disorder. And it's not just women. It's men too.
There's a guy out there who publicly came out that he is in love with his car.
Yeah. We've
Literally
all
in love with his car.
we've all
Tailpipe
seen those.
is-
I was going to say we've all seen those pictures, Ishtar. You don't need to bring them up.
Yeah.
The tailpipe of that poor car is well used. There's a woman who's married to the Berlin Wall.
There is a man who is very much in love with a tree. So when he says he really loves the Earth, he really loves the Earth.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just you. On one hand, you feel bad for them because they're inanimate objects. There's not really anything that they're going to get out of it that they themselves aren't providing. But at the same time,
It makes them happy.
yeah,
Well, there is also the guy who's in love with pool floaties.
And balloons. There's another one that's in love with balloons.
and
Well,
red
then-
feather's correct.
but-
It's better than shagging animals.
That the balloon guy was my strange addiction as well. The balloon guy, it's not that he's in love with balloons, he's in love with popping balloons.
Well, there's different types. There are people who are in love with the balloons themselves, and they love and they get sexually aroused by the sound of the balloons stretching and being bent, and the noise you make
The
when you.
anticipation.
And then there are people who get sexual attraction from the anticipation of the pop. Yes. So, going from all of that fun stuff to something rather gross. Now, with that prefaced, I like playing this game with you all. This Florida man.
Isn't
It's my
Stein-
turn.
No, she decided she was going to go for second last time. I'm deciding I get to go second this time.
Well, excuse me, Mr. Boss.
Damn right.
He's
Or should I call you Master Antoine?
You do that any much more, and then we're going to have to cut this show short, and Matt's going to be very angry with me.
Yeah.
Yes, Master.
Is she? Careful on the careful on the master thing. That's how I ended up in handcuffs for 2 weeks.
So I'm going to play this game with you. This Florida man was accused of beating his cellmate who asked for a what?
Cigarette.
Ishtar says
Candy
cigarette.
A
Wren says candy
blowjob.
bar. I said this was a gross article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about the hygiene in prisons.
Well, when you see what he looks like, that would be gross. But okay, so Ishtar, you say blowjob. Wren.
Candy bar, but I'm trying to say it nicer.
He wanted a butt fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, so
I'm
just
just saying,
why didn't you just say
candy bar.
toss his salad or something?
Because candy bar sounds nicer.
All right.
Hand
Red-
sanitizer for red feather.
And then, damn alien says a wombat.
Okay.
To be fair, he looks like he got attacked by a wombat. Remy says a hand job. Well, no, you're all very, very wrong and not petty enough.
Not petty enough?
Florida man accused of beating cellmate who asked for a courtesy flush to help with the smell.
Flush the toilet.
That's what upset him?
He got beat up. Victim's ribs and nose were broken.
Oh.
Dude,
Have
proper etiquette. It doesn't matter if you're in prison or in your home. Flush the damn toilet.
Yeah, seriously.
Have a good night, Ali. I hope your headache goes away.
Good night, Allie. Feel better.
Monroe County, Florida. An argument over passing gas and a request for a courtesy flush after using a jail toilet led to a Florida man beating his cellmate, according to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Deputies said Guilford Joseph Abshire, 53, was sharing a cell with
That's his name.
with a 65-year-old man on April 6th when the man got upset for him passing gas. A few minutes later, around 7:30, Abshire used their shared toilet, and afterward the victim asked Abshire to provide a courtesy flush to help with the overwhelming odour. At that point, deputies said Abshire started kicking the victim, who was on the bottom bunk. It does not state whether he finished and wiped up first, so just keep that in your mind. The man got up, but then Abshire grabbed him by the throat and threw him across the cell before deputies came in and detained him. The victim, who was in jail for violating his DUI and drug possession-related probation, suffered 3 broken ribs and a broken nose, according to the report. Abshire is facing battery-related charges in connection with the incident.
Wow. Wow.
So Red Feather.
Sorry, my mind is just kind of blown.
So Red Feather says maybe he's an environmentalist.
There you go.
Nick says this guy thinks his shit don't stink.
Clearly he doesn't.
How's it going, James? And James says maybe he had the runs. Actually, it was more of the kicks, but, you know.
You never know.
Alright, let's move on to some science, and then we'll get back to our normal order afterwards.
This one's a little more somber. Apollo 13 at 50 years. Houston, we've had a problem. 50 years ago, 3 astronauts had been on their way to the moon when things started to go very wrong. On April 11th, 1970, NASA astronauts Jim Lovell, Jack Swigert, and Fred Hayes launched into the heavens on what was intended to be the 3rd crewed mission to land on the moon. 2 days later, however, one of the oxygen tanks, which had unknowingly suffered damage before launch, exploded, throwing the 3 men into a fight for their very lives. With no pre-existing strategy for dealing with such an eventuality, the astronauts, along with NASA personnel on the ground, battled to find a way to keep them alive long enough to get back home. Over the next few days, they would improvise a number of solutions, including creating a carbon dioxide filter out of duct tape, socks, and a bungee cord to stop the men from suffocating. The lunar module, which was designed to land on the surface of the moon, instead became a makeshift lifeboat thanks to its independent source of oxygen, water, and power. Incredibly, all 3 astronauts managed to make it back home very much alive on April 17th. There is no denying, however, just how close they came to disaster. The explosion occurred on April 13th at just the right time to allow a return, Lovell told Collect Space. If the explosion occurred when we had lit our engine to go to the moon in the beginning, we would never have had enough consumables in the lunar module to go all the way around the moon and come back home again. If the explosion occurred after we got into lunar orbit, or heaven forbid, when we were on the lunar surface, Mission Control would have had to figure out why they left 3 guys at the moon. There you go.
You just wanted to bring us down.
Yes.
Why did you...
Read about the fen tiger.
The what?
Mystery big cat sparks fresh fen tiger rumors.
I don't have that article.
I know because I just pulled it up.
Don't say you're going to talk about something without giving me things.
Hold on. Alright, check your DMs.
I'm not pounding on my keyboard. It's a metallic...
Mechanical.
Yeah, it's a mechanical keyboard, so it's loud.
The typing is incredibly soothing to me. A Cambridge University worker has photographed a large wildcat with big claws in his garden. The creature, which was spotted on Saturday, April 11th, appeared light brown in color and was about the size of a fully grown Labrador, far too large to be a native species of wildcat. Photographs, photographs of the feline, which have since gone viral on social media, can be viewed below. It was about 8 or 8:30 this morning when I saw the animal from my kitchen window. The man who captured the images told local news site Cambridgeshire Live. I think it somehow keeps coming to this place to hunt rabbits or other small animals. Initially, I thought it was a wildcat, like a Felis sylvestris. But then I went to my colleagues at the university and they said it can't have been, as this animal is way bigger. The sighting has resurfaced rumors about the so called fen tiger, a legendary big cat that has been seen numerous times in the countryside around Lincolnshire and Cambridgeshire, England. I forgot to breathe. Over the last 30 years, it has gained something of a reputation for its mysterious and elusive nature. Many researchers believe that the presence of large cats in Britain can be primarily attributed to exotic pet owners deliberately releasing them into the wild, something that became a lot more common following the introduction of the Dangerous Wild Animals Act in 1976. There is also the possibility that the creature managed to escape from a zoo or wildlife park.
That's always a possibility.
Well, for any of you playing the MSNBC drinking game, Ishtar yawned, so you have to take a shot. It was a big kitty. That's all it was.
Yes, the top comment on this story is meow, kitty kitty.
I am sorry that Red Feather, you couldn't hear the last part of the story because of my keyboard typing. I apologize. I forgot to mute my microphone.
You mean your keyboard abuse?
It's not a
keyboard abuse.
You know what? I don't abuse my keyboard.
What was that?
I don't abuse my keyboard.
Really? Are you sure?
Yes.
Could be spousal abuse.
I'm going to hurt you. Let's move on to some cringe, shall we?
All right. Let's go with the loose goat that decided to visit a liquor store.
You have a thing with alcohol tonight.
I've also had a couple margaritas because, fuck it, I don't have to go to work.
Alright, let's talk about a goat that raids the liquor stores.
Yes.
Smart goat.
Yes, it is a very smart goat. Again, hashtag priorities. Police in Massachusetts said a goat was found wandering outside a liquor store, was safely returned to its owner. They didn't even let it get in the liquor store. The Worcestershire Police Department said animal control officers Pat Cherry responded Sunday to a report of a loose goat wandering outside McGovern's package store.
Hold on. How did it visit? Like, when you say visit, it makes it sound like it went inside. If they didn't even let it go inside, this article is...
It stared inside the liquor store going, it wanted to get in.
This article is fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news!
I don't write it. I just find it. Cherry found the goat curled up behind a USPS drop-off box, apparently confused and exhausted. Probably confused because it didn't realize why the liquor store wasn't open. The goat was captured using a catch pole and taken into custody before later being reunited with its owner. The police say the incident was highly unusual, as there are not typically loose goats wandering the streets of Worcester.
Meh.
Are you saying you're Randy, Ishtar?
No, I'm just being a goat. Meh.
Well, why don't you be a goat and pick up a science article? I said we were going back to our regular rotation. So it's your turn.
I just did 2 articles.
Yeah, you can do another one.
But I don't wanna.
Do you want to hear about penguins?
I think we should I think we should save that one for after the break. Fine, I will do a Florida man.
No,
no.
It's fine. It's fine.
You don't like. You know what? I thought you didn't like it when Matt pulls out.
I really don't.
Do you have another article to send me, or are you doing something else?
No, I'm doing one that you got. Judean date palm Methuselah. This tree was extinct for 1,000 years. This tree was extinct for 1,000 years before sprouting again from a 2,000-year-old seed.
Don't have that one.
You should. I sent it to you.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I
you
did.
I don't have it.
It's
Well,
in the
that's
chat.
your fault. Hold on a second. There. Now you have it. What? A tree grown from a 2,000-year-old seed may bring its subspecies back to Israel, where it once flourished after a millennium-long absence. The seed was one of 6 discovered in 1963 in a jar in Herod the Great's palace at the Masada fortress in Israel. Radiocarbon dating found that the seeds, preserved by the arid climate, were from sometime between 155 BC and AD 64. In 2005, Elaine Solowy from the Center for Sustainable Agriculture at the Arava Institute for Environmental Studies, Jesus Christ, people, shorter titles, decided to try planting 3 of them. She was skeptical and supposed that the seed's endosperm, which fuels its early growth, would no longer be viable. The seed was treated with a hormone-rich solution and fertilizer and then planted on the grounds of the Institute in Keturah. 1 sprouted into a sapling. 12 years later, it's more than 10 feet tall. A male of its subspecies, it was nicknamed Methuselah after the longest-lived person in the Bible. It is the oldest known germination of a seed in the world. At first, the leaves were plagued with white blotches, suggesting insufficient nutrients, but eventually the plant thrived. It flowered in 2011, and it produces pollen, which allows it to reproduce with modern date palms as it did in 2015. The Judean date palm has deep cultural meaning in the region, and in the Bible, King David names his daughter Tamar, which is the Hebrew word for the plant.
He named his daughter after a tree.
Yes.
How romantic.
There are other historical and legendary things attached to said tree, but fortunately, Solowy has grown more of them, so it's being repopulated. She's working on an entire grove of them, and there is investigation into purported medical properties, which modern date palms don't appear to share.
It's a 2,000-year-old tree.
Yes.
All right.
It has been brought back from extinction. That's pretty cool.
How's it going, Herb?
Hi, Herb. No, Za. I actually am aware of the Japanese and their very precise names. You actually need to read some of those light novels because they tell you the plot in the title.
Look, all in all, Steve has gotten to the heart of what was said in that article. Sperm. These are the jokes.
I'm trying to I don't have a response to that.
Don't be mean. Do not be mean to the chat. He was trying very hard.
I wasn't being mean. I was looking for a response. Okay. Moving on.
So I know I bring you a bunch of articles that are not necessarily the greatest.
Really?
Before we started the show, I told you about a Florida man that decided to kill and cook a dog.
Ugh.
Yes. But this one happens to be a good article. It's a good Florida man. I'm not even going to try and hide it. I'm just going to go right into it. A South Florida man donates plasma to help save the life of a doctor who contracted COVID-19. So this is a good...
Man doing something good?
Yes, I know. It's strange, right?
That's no.
It's kind of dirty. Makes you feel a little weird. It's a good thing.
Florida man can do good things, I guess.
We've had a couple good Florida man articles, but this one is one I could find. Northwest Miami-Dade, Florida. The family of a doctor hospitalized due to Corona-chan said he was about to lose his life until a South Florida man who had recovered from the virus donated his plasma to help save his life. Dr. Vladimir LaRoche, I love that name. I want that name. I want that doctor. I don't care if he's a good doctor or not. That name is amazing. Was taking care of sick patients when he contracted COVID-19 and ended up in a Palm Beach County hospital. Paul LaRoche, the doctor's brother, lives in Miami and was nervous his brother was not going to make it. How do you get stuck with the name Paul after you get with a brother named Vladimir?
We know who the favorite brother was.
Or someone, one parent picked a name and the other one's like, fine, you name the kid next time. The name they came up with is Paul.
Fowl says, if you get blood from a Florida man, does it turn you into a Florida man?
Apparently.
Maybe.
Maybe?
Like vampires.
His doctor said a blood plasma infusion could help, but the blood needed to come from someone who recovered from COVID-19 and has its antibodies. In his case, he just kept getting worse, and within 4 days after being in ICU, he needed to get intubated. That is when he almost died at that point. Look, I am going to go ahead and make a request for the plasma from One Blood, and we will move on with the plasma infusion, I guess the nurse said. However, this was not written very well. However, plasma was not readily available, so LaRoche posted an urgent request on social media, desperately looking for a donor. The post was shared all over South Florida, and LaRoche was connected to Basil Binns through a mutual friend. My question was, how can I help? Binns said, not just because of the friend relationship that we had with our common friend, but the ability to help someone who is in dire straits. Binns had recovered from COVID-19 and had the antibodies the doctor needed, so he came to One Blood location in northwest Miami-Dade to donate his plasma. He did what angels do, LaRoche said. He came through and in due form saved my brother's life. Binns donated his blood on Friday and it had to be sent to Orlando to separate the plasma and made it to the doctor on Saturday. Once he got the infusion, it sort of stabilized him. Now we are beginning to see some slow signs of improvement. Some light at the end of the tunnel. Some hope. It has been quite a roller coaster, Bin said. To think that being infected with the virus actually ends up being a plus, and I have the ability to help someone else because I recovered. To help them recover. One Blood is looking for plasma donors to help other COVID-19 patients. Donors must have a verification of a positive COVID-19 test to be symptom-free for 14 days and have documentation of a negative test after recovering from the virus. Candidates can go to oneblood.org to schedule a donation. As for LaRoche and Binns, they are now teaming up to start a non-profit called Heal as One, and they are making it their mission to find donors to help other COVID-19 patients. That's actually really cool. Congratulations, Florida man. That's actually really nice.
More power to them.
No, plasma doesn't. Plasma is, what is plasma? It's not. When you get blood, that's blood platelets. Plasma is the stuff that's in between the platelets, I believe, which is universal. It's the stuff. It carries the nutrients and carries. It also carries antibodies and things like that. Yes, Ishtar, you've raised your hand.
Plasma is the colorless fluid part of blood, lymph, or milk in which corpuscles or fat globules are suspended. I looked it up. There you go.
Everyone has plasma. What they do is they take your blood and then they go separate it.
They spin it around a lot and it separates.
But it is time for our regularly scheduled commercial break.
No.
Yes.
I'm not recording the commercials. I'm pulling a Mitzi.
Wren, you can go first.
All right. I'm Wren. I have my own channel, Wrenelations. I Well, now for a short while, probably he'll have more time to actually live stream, but usually I'm exclusive to here on Tuesday nights. You can follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on YouTube. Links are all down below. And just a pre-warning, don't check my Twitter when you're at work or around
She
family.
she's
'Cause,
very not safe for work.
Very not safe for work.
I'm not safe for work.
But if your work doesn't care about that kind of thing, go ahead and check out Wren's Twitter profile. There's lots of jiggling.
Yes,
In
there
all
is.
the best ways.
Alright, Ishtar, your turn.
No, I fast forwarded. It's your turn.
Ishtar, it's your turn.
Yes, master. Hi, I'm Ishtar. I'm being a little bit of a brat tonight.
Only slightly.
Only slightly. I am here on Tuesday nights with MSNBC. On other times, you will find me at Cyber helping out with voices. And I have my own Twitch channel at twitch.tv/IshtarJMO, where on Mondays and Fridays I play various games that, well, don't involve a lot of screaming.
Mm.
She doesn't play horror games.
No, I don't play horror games, but I play a lot of other games. Right now we're playing Subnautica and Raft. Though Raft may be pausing because,
Hey,
he
I'm gonna be
was
picking up.
abandoning me.
I'm gonna be picking up a copy of Raft. Maybe I can pick up where he left off.
I don't know. Are you gonna save me from all the things that are trying to kill me?
I may die right alongside you, but it'll be fun.
See you later, Red Feather. Have a good night, Cinder Shadow.
Bye. Good night.
Night.
My name, of course, is Antoine the Great. I am the host of Help for the Guildless, as well as the host of MSNBC. If you like what we do here, talking about weird stories and everything, there's a show on Sunday.
Called The Last Vox.
The Last Vox. I was going to say...
Your memory.
I was going to say what it was. I don't remember always what he does. Matt hosts it on Sunday. Sometimes he does it on Monday, which confuses people. But he talks...
It was a holiday, and I need attention.
Where he talks about politics, gives out advice, talks about how to deal with certain things. And if you like that kind of stuff, you like the humour, you like the snark, go ahead and check out Cyber Demon Gaming. It's our sister channel, where if you like watching snarky people play video games, well, Ishtar is doing voices for the KFC dating sim. There's also a Five Nights at Freddy's playthrough that I personally finished 100%.
Uh-huh.
Did
Didn't Sarah help you with that?
I have no idea what you're talking about. But if there's also streams every Saturday over on Cyber Demon Gaming's Twitch channel. If you like any of that stuff, go ahead, the links are down below, as well as if you'd like to support the channel and support these wonderful ladies here on this show. Any donations that are given tonight get divided between all three of us. You can go ahead and join with the join button below, or support us through Patreon, support us through Streamlabs, or Super Chat. And with all that being said, let's get back to the show.
Red Feather, it is the last Vox, because Vox means voice. So it is the last voice of sanity on the internet.
What she said.
Yeah.
I don't know why he called it the last Vox. I think he was trying to be edgy.
Maybe.
So,
I have no answer.
So, do we want to do... Mine's a little long, so let's go ahead and do... we'll start over in the pecking order. So we'll go with cringe first.
Alright. Rusty knife embedded in man's head for 26 years after being mugged.
I'm sorry, again? What?
Rusty knife embedded in man's head for 26 years after being mugged.
So you're saying he had a splitting headache?
Wow.
A surgeon has removed a rusty knife from a man's head, which was embedded for 26 years. The 4-inch blade had been there since he was violently mugged in 1994.
God damn!
In 2012, the patient, 76, only named as Mr. Dodry, sought medical attention after he began suffering from a chronic headache.
Gee, I wonder why.
But the knife was kept in his head because it was believed to pose a threat to his life if he had it removed. It was finally taken out at Shandong Huaishan Hospital in China, which described the case as a miracle.
You know what? Not only did he get his knife removed after 26 years, but he got a free case of coronavirus to take home with him.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
And he also got a complimentary cup of bat soup.
Oh, that's just bad. Images supplied by the facility in Jin, the capital of Shandong province, show the intact fruit knife blade was retrieved from the back of Gothard Mr. Dorji's head. Mr. Dorji, who is from a rural county in Haiyan in China's northwestern Jinggan province, underwent 2 procedures on April 2nd and April 8th.
Zero Gold, it was in his head for 26 years.
And somehow did not give him tetanus.
Somehow. The only reason he got any treatment was because his symptoms began increasingly severe and unbearable. Due to the limitations of local hospitals, they decided to bring him to Shandong for the best possible treatment.
It was a 10-inch blade! God damn!
Yes.
It's seriously.
Tom Leach says, dude, you're getting a free case of Corona! Woo! Let me finish. Virus. Boo! I'm glad he got it out of his head, but Jesus. A 10-inch blade stuck in his dome.
Yes.
For 26 years.
26 years.
I don't even like waiting for something for a week. This man waited 26 years to get something out.
Well, to be fair, small province in China. Do you think he trusted those surgeons?
I mean, they eat raw animals, so I don't trust them with anything.
So maybe he waited till they were actually able to remove it without killing him.
It is a possibility.
I mean, he did. You gotta give him props. He did wait till the point where the headaches got so bad. It's like, I can't live with this in my head anymore. You have to take it out now.
Alright, it says it measured in 4 inches in length, but the picture shows, like, the full thing was 10. It says, Chief Neurosurgeon Liu Guan-kun agreed that removing the knife blade, measuring 4 inches long and 1.2 inches wide, was the only way to resolve the pensioner's suffering once and for all. I'm sorry, that's not a 4-inch blade. Even if you go at that indent at the top, that's 8 inches. So apparently the doctors may have been good in getting rid of the blade, they just can't measure things.
Possible.
Wren, sitting like that, you actually... I was going to say, sitting like that, you actually look like you're not wearing anything.
Wren,
That's
it's the
what
reason we have viewers.
We're keeping up. Don't ruin the illusion.
Alright, let's move on to some science. Since you were so eager to get this one out earlier.
Image of Jesus appears up a tree in Colombia. And I gotta admit that from the image, it does look a little suggestive. But at the same time, I can see how it's just a combination of lighting.
They understand that's not how you lynch someone, right?
They're not
Just-
trying to lynch him.
I mean...
Hundreds of locals recently took to the streets
Oh,
to witness
hold on.
what they believed was a vision of Jesus.
Look, I understand Jesus has a lot of problems down in Colombia, but you don't hang him from a tree like that. That's called a crucifixion.
The unexpected gathering, which flew in the face of the country's strict coronavirus lockdown rules, occurred after the image of Jesus himself appeared in the upper branches of a tree. Wearing absolutely no protective gear whatsoever, the townspeople began to pray underneath the tree, believing that what they were witnessing was a sign of divine intervention. The image appeared on Sunday night, said journalist Rodolfo Zambrano. The people ran with candles and turned that place into a pilgrimage point, which has the inhabitants of the neighborhood very worthy because the faithful arrived en masse. Footage and photographs of the scene seem to confirm the shape at the top of the tree really did bear an uncanny resemblance to the image of Jesus Christ on the cross. However, additional pictures taken during daylight hours have since revealed that the phenomenon was little more than an optical illusion.
Red Feather is asking the important questions. This is the second coming of Christ, yes? Jesus is coming about. Did they give him corona?
Herb says it was Jesus in the tree with a candlestick.
Totally.
Yep.
Alright. Well, I mean, that's a fun one for Easter, late Easter thing, I guess. But, I mean, it's already been proven a lot that, you know, all those things are just stuff and nonsense. Seeing people, you know, seeing Jesus and toast and a Dorito chip and, you know, a wooden door. Look, if you were the all-powerful Son of God, would you really show up in something like a piece of toast?
Why not?
No, you might be bored.
Well, that just means Jesus has a good sense of humor and he's fucking with people, but then you also have to say that the Son of God, the infallible one, likes to troll his congregation. Who wants that as a god?
Sounds like if someone tried to make you a god.
I don't want to be a god. That's too much paperwork.
Yeah, paperwork when you're in charge does get to be a bit much.
Oh, Tom.
What did Tom say?
Tom says, Jesus walks into a porn studio and he says, I'm going to be your next new star. The casting director says, I hear that a lot. What makes you any different? Jesus says, 'cause I'm hung like this.
Okay.
You get it, right?
I don't want to. I'm trying very hard not to.
You mean you're trying hard not to laugh?
No, I'm just trying hard not to get it because that was pretty bad.
Alright, I told you. In the headline, I have something for the coronavirus that has to deal with a cover-up. Now, I know a lot of people out there are talking about how this virus was created by, you know, the government to make us all give up our rights. China and America are in on it together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have evidence that supports none of that, because it's not that type of cover-up.
Is it a cover-up that covers bodies?
Yes.
Oh, good. Moving on.
A particular body. This Florida man used the coronavirus quarantine rules to cover up his wife's murder.
Okay. Did not expect that twist. Please continue.
You look so enthusiastic looking directly at your crotch. Still didn't look like you were looking at your crotch. A Florida man is under arrest for allegedly killing his wife and attempting to cover up the crime by using her cell phone to send text messages that appeared to come from her, telling family and friends that she was in quarantine after contracting the coronavirus. At least 4 family members, friends and neighbors of Gretchen Anthony received text messages from her around March 23rd saying that after being diagnosed with coronavirus, she was transported from the hospital into the custody of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. That's not how it works. This is a clever Florida man who doesn't know how things actually work. And Zor has a message for you, Ishtar.
Uh-huh.
For further observation, according to the Jupiter Police Department record, knitting is racist.
Zaw can go fuck himself.
The Jupiter Medical Center told police and family members that Gretchen Anthony had not been a patient there since 2008, but that her car was parked in their lot with her purse in the front seat, according to the police report. The hospital also said that it was not their protocol for coronavirus patients to get transported to the CDC-approved task force. There's more. Family members called Jupiter Police on March 25th and reported the 51-year-old missing, expressing concern that her estranged husband, David Anthony, may have had something to do with her disappearance. The couple mutually filed for divorce on February 28th, according to online records. Wow, he didn't even wait that long before trying to bump her off.
No,
She
no.
must have gotten a really good settlement.
If she's 51, good, she looks good for 51.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she has children, but she's definitely a MILF. They lived separately, but family members told police that David Anthony had issues, quote-unquote, and were afraid that he may have done something to Gretchen, based on prior knowledge of his behavior. A week before Gretchen went missing, David was allegedly seen by police approaching 15-year-old girls while sweating profusely, before altering his license plate with a black electrical tape, according to the Riviera Beach Police Department.
Oh, he's a winner.
Well, he does look like a douche. Let's be honest.
True.
Yeah.
When officers approached him about the license plate manipulation, he allegedly blamed it on his 12-year-old daughter and disobeyed orders not to get into his car. As another police officer attempted to arrest David, he allegedly slammed the car door on the officer's arm, according to a March 15th police report.
Because that's a good thing to do when you're already in trouble.
He was arrested for resisting an officer with violence and released on a $3,000 bail. During the subsequent missing persons investigation, Gretchen's neighbor told police that on March 21st, they heard a woman's blood-curdling screams, along with shouts of "No, no, it hurts," coming from Gretchen's patio or garage. The neighbor also took photographs of a car that they saw backing into the driveway. Police said the car...
Didn't think to go and find out what the screams were about.
Listen, Matt gave some advice on the last Vox yesterday. Did you listen to it?
Yes, but still, if you hear someone shrieking from their garage or their patio, no, it hurts.
Maybe
That's
she wasn't
not
saying the
something
safe
you can
word.
chalk up as, a movie.
She didn't use the safe word correctly.
Ugh. People are so disinterested in each other these days.
Police said the car belonged to David, because he's too stupid to not drive the car to the murder scene.
Well, he may not have been able to get a rental.
Investigators subsequently determined that Gretchen was killed on March 21st and named David as the primary suspect. Jupiter Police said on their Facebook page. Gretchen was last seen at work on March 20th in good spirits, according to the police report. A neighbor told police that she last saw David on March 23rd when he picked up his dog and asked her to watch his cat because Gretchen was in quarantine for 14 days, according to the police report. This is another picture of David. I don't know which camera he's looking at, the one on his left or the one that's right in front of him.
God, everything about him looks sinister.
Mm-hmm.
Police searched the house and found towels soiled with reddish stains, small droplets of blood in the master bathroom, a large bleach stain on the floor of the garage. Cell phones belonging to David and Gretchen pinged off a tower on March 27th in Texas. New Mexico State Police caught up with David Anthony on March 31st in Las Cruces and took him into custody. So he fled across state lines. That is a felony. Police said they have not found Gretchen's body, nor have they located David's black and white husky dog that authorities said was frequently with his owner. Okay, you guys have heard the whole tiger thing, right? On Netflix.
I don't have Netflix right now.
Well, it's all
I've
over.
heard of it, but
It's all over Twitter, all over social media. The husband collected rare cats, and I guess he died, and his wife is the suspect because he got fed to that tiger. I have a feeling that dog, if they found it, which is dead now, has chunks of Gretchen in its stomach.
ew.
As of Tuesday, David was in the Donna Ana County Detention Center awaiting extradition back to Palm Beach, where he faces second-degree murder and kidnapping charges. Attorney information was not provided in the jail records. As a newly booked inmate, he was placed in 14-day isolation on April 2nd in accordance with COVID-19 guidelines.
Probably a good idea.
Probably.
But I don't think it's COVID he's going to be infected with.
No, that's the AIDS and the herpes.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
There is no excuse for you.
So, like I said, there was a cover-up, but
Good story.
not the type of cover-up that everyone... It's probably going to be turned into a made-for-TV movie.
More than likely.
Probably.
It didn't have enough twists and turns for it to be good enough to be a, box office blockbuster, but then there's no such thing right now anyway.
Nah. No, there isn't.
So, let's move on to the penguins.
Penguins.
Optimus Prime is going to be so sad that he missed it, because when he shows up next week and we say, there were penguins in the stories, and he's going to be disappointed.
Yes.
He should have been here then.
He should have. Playful penguins struggle to keep atop a slippery floating chunk of ice.
Aww.
There's literally, I can read this is the entire article. It's like a penguin version of King of the Hill, except no one's winning. A tourist in Antarctica spotted the seabirds going about their business in the frigid waters last month. This was in February. More than a few penguins seemed to think a floating chunk of ice would make a great spot for a break, but none managed to stay on top of it very long. That is the entire story.
Yeah, there's a video going that I got playing. Because everyone likes penguins.
They're so cute.
I figured with all the other news in the world going on, I bring you penguins trying to play King of the Hill.
Good night, Ishii.
What?
Did you say good night to yourself?
Oh, you
Good
did.
night, Mitzi.
You didn't say Mitzi.
You said is she?
Sorry, I was reading ahead in her comment. Good night, Mitzi.
Good night, Mitzi. Good night, Zor. And Zor brings up good advice. Do not throw penguins. They explode when they land.
I'm not going to say good night to Zaw. He doesn't deserve it.
Don't be mean.
I'm going to be mean.
Now, who actually vacations in Antarctica? Why? Why would you want to vacation in Antarctica? It's cold.
Maybe they are from a place that's really, really warm, so cold is their vacation.
Unless they live on the sun, I don't see that as a good vacation spot.
I don't know. All I know is penguins. Penguins are nice to look at.
Alright, Ishtar. Science time.
NASA funds proposal to build a telescope on the far side of the moon. NASA is funding an early-stage proposal to build a meshed telescope inside a crater on the far side of the moon, according to Vice. This dark side is the face of the moon that is permanently positioned away from Earth, and as such, it offers a rare view of the dark cosmos, unhindered by radio interference from humans and by our planet's thick atmosphere. The ultra-long wavelength radio telescope would be called the Lunar Crater Radio Telescope and would have tremendous advantages compared to telescopes on our planet.
Because they're not very creative with their naming schemes.
They aren't, but Jesus Christ, the idea's founder's name.
Go.
Bandiopadhyay.
I'm gonna highlight that for you folks.
I am not making that name up.
Sabtashi Bandiopadhyay. Yeah, that's a.
Padhyay, not pada. It's Padhyay.
I don't care. She's not watching these.
Saptarshi is a robotics technologist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory. NASA's Innovative Advanced Concepts Program is awarding $125,000 for a Phase 1 study to understand the feasibility of such a telescope. The telescope, designed as wire mesh, would be deployed into a 2 to 3 mile wide crater on the moon's far side. The 0.62 mile diameter wire mesh telescope would be stretched across the crater by NASA's duaxle rovers, or wall climbing robots, according to the proposal summary. If built, the Lunar Crater Radio Telescope would be the largest filled aperture radioscope in the solar system. A filled aperture radio telescope is a telescope that uses a single dish to collect data rather than many dishes.
Look, this is all according to humans. It doesn't mean that the Martians aren't doing the same thing. It's just underneath the surface of Mars. You guys are actually very far behind the Martians. You understand that, right?
We're working on it, okay? So, shut up. Because this telescope would be on the far side of the moon, it would avoid radio interference from Earth, satellites, or even the sun's radio noise during the lunar night. It would also let us gaze out into the cosmos without the veil of Earth's atmosphere. The atmosphere reflects low-frequency wavelengths of light greater than 32.8 feet, essentially blocking them from reaching ground-based telescopes. The telescope could enable tremendous scientific discoveries in the field of cosmology by observing the early universe in the 10 to 50-something wavelength band, which has not been explored by humans till today.
Humans, exactly. Tom says, I mean, in technological terms, yes, the Martians are winning. But in degeneracy, humans, yes, you have that cornered.
Except for you. But anyway. I want to know...
Clever says, at least we know what germs are.
Yeah. I want to know how we're supposed to get images if it's blocked by the moon.
I don't know.
I don't know.
So it doesn't explain that here. It shows how, it's like there's this little comic thing that shows how it would be deployed, but it doesn't explain how we would get the information.
Your guess is as good as mine. Alright. Everyone likes to hear about courtroom drama, yes? It's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Judge Judy is amazing.
Judge Judy is fun. If you ever want to feel smart, just watch some of the people on there.
Very true. Well, a judge reminds lawyers to get out of bed and put on shirts for Zoom hearings. For those of you who don't know what Zoom is, it is a thing that's like Google Hangouts or StreamYard. It is a way that you can get a bunch of people together to... That's how they're doing the schooling from home with the children. Yeah. It's also how you're seeing all those funny memes and things that are happening on Twitter, like the woman who was in a group meeting with her companions for work, and she decided to go take a piss and forgot that her camera was looking right at her. So I'm sure her Japanese boss was very happy about that. She's probably going to get a raise.
More than likely.
And then there was the man who was in a conference call that forgot that was a nudist and, well, didn't realize his camera was on.
Oops.
Everyone else in the call knew that his camera was on.
Unfortunately for them.
Yes. So that's what Zoom is. I'm just explaining that. April 14th. A Florida judge issued a letter to lawyers in his district reminding them to get out of bed and put on shirts before teleconferencing into online hearings. Judge Dennis Bailey of Broward Circuit Court, which had started holding some hearings virtually using teleconference app Zoom, said in a letter posted on the Western Bar Association website that conducting hearings outside of court is no excuse for letting decorum fall by the wayside. Damn right, you put on a shirt, you comb your hair, you look nice, and you show up for court that way. It is remarkable. What?
Indeed.
Yes, it is remarkable how many attorneys appear inappropriately on camera, Bailey wrote. We've seen many lawyers in casual shirts and blouses with no concern for ill grooming, in bedrooms with the master bed in the background, etc. One male lawyer appeared shirtless, and one female attorney appeared still in bed, under the covers. You know, I honestly was hoping that those two were going to be reversed, but that's just me. And putting on a beach cover-up won't cover up your poolside in a bathing suit. Nice. Very nice. So please, if you don't mind, let's treat court hearings as court hearings, whether Zooming or not. Don't use that as slang. Zooming is not a slang term for using this app. Don't listen to the judge.
I like how he calls it zooming, though. That is such a boomer move.
Yeah. Bailey
Not zooming that way.
Bailey said he believes hearings should be treated as formal court procedures regardless of setting. I would want attorneys dressed showing some respect in their recognition that this is a court hearing. You're going to earn the same amount of respect that you're shown, Bailey said. If you show up in jeans and a t-shirt, it's counterproductive. Alright, I think I have one more. It's another good Florida man story, and I think we're going to end it on that.
Okay.
So we had one life-saving Florida man before the break, and now we're going to have a good Samaritan Florida man after the break. Man tips delivery drivers with sold-out essentials.
Okay.
A man in Florida has poked fun at the toilet paper frenzy that has gripped the nation in response to Corona-chan. Donald Ryan, owner of the arts and crafts business Who Would Wonder, that's a horrible name. I mean, it's an amazing name for a shop, but it's a horrible name to say. Hung the replica roll between two trees in his front yard.
Uh-huh.
It's a giant roll of toilet paper. I had the pulleys in the trees all along because I do Christmas decorations up there, and Halloween and Easter and all kinds of things, so I put it to good use. I think the whole idea is crazy, the toilet paper phenomenon. Yes, so does everyone else who has two brain cells that rub together more often than once a year.
Mm-hmm.
He built the replica himself, then painted the name of his business on the paper. Starting in early March, Americans panicked and started to buy food and supplies in anticipation of the coronavirus growing more severe. Some people went so far as to hijack trucks full of toilet paper or get into fights in stores over it. Everybody loves it, Ryan continued. You got to laugh or you're going to just drive yourself crazy. Nowhere in this does it say he's giving them... Oh, it's two different stories. Why do they have... So, the story that I read, the title is Florida Man Hangs Giant Toilet Paper Roll in Front Yard. The video that is accompanying it says Man Tips Delivery Driver with Sold Out Essentials.
Yes.
Those are two different stories.
Yes, they are.
They're very different stories.
That's, well, alright then. Well, it seems we finished a little early.
Yes, we have.
I was gonna say, how did we finish?
I don't know.
9:30.
We didn't BS as much with the audience.
That or all the articles are just shorter. To be fair, it's harder to find a lot of fun things when everything is
Coronavirus this, coronavirus that.
you have to dig a lot.
Well, I mean, I could bring up the Florida Man article that Matt talked about on yesterday.
Which Which one?
Which one?
The one about the polyamorous relationship.
No.
Why not?
Is that a sad one?
Wren, you didn't hear about this?
Wren, you will want to veto this asshole.
All right.
Oh, that asshole.
Yeah. No. We're not going to end on that one.
That's sad. Why would you want to end on sad?
I don't want to end on sad. I want to end on happy.
All right, then end it.
Fine.
Unless you've got another fun article.
No, I don't. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this has been MSNBC, my snarky news broadcasting channel, where I have been joined by my two gorgeous co-hosts, Wren's cleavage and her thighs from Revelations and Shitlords Anonymous,
Later, guys.
as well as Ishtar from her own Twitch streams, where she does voices for Cyberdemon Gaming.
Good night, guys.
And my name, of course, is Antoine the Great. And we've learned a lot tonight. And I honestly hope you all had a wonderful Easter weekend. And I hope this next week is not too crazy for you all. And from me to you personally, and I'm talking about everyone who's listening, I hope you all have a wonderful week and a pleasant evening. Have a good night.
Good night.